Well, good morning, everybody. I think this is on, right? So, yeah, great. So, welcome to the TAC, our TAC meeting, January 27th, 2025, and welcome to everybody that's online. So, first thing, we have approval of TAC agenda for today's meeting. Somebody like to make a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve today's agenda. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, great, thanks. Next item is the TAC meeting minutes from November 25th, 2024. Somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the November 25th, 2024 TAC meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, thanks. Next, we have director support, Chad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the Technical Advisory Committee. Thank you for your quorum. It helps us to make action items pass. We appreciate your participation. We have a few reports to report to you, and staff has summarized those on the agenda, starting with Peter helping with summarizing TIP project status as well as projects obligated. So let me request Peter.
Good morning, TAC members. First, we have our bi-monthly TIP project statuses. So on page 16 of the WAMPO TIP policy, it requires that there's bi-monthly progress reports for projects programmed to receive WAMPO suballocated federal funding in the current federal fiscal year, or that have received it in the past, but have not yet finished. And so as our convention, I'll go through the ones that are intended to obligate this year. We have the 53rd Street and Oliver, or 53rd Street Oliver to Woodlawn multi-use path, anticipated let date May 2025. The Douglas Seneca to Meridian project, anticipated let August of 2025. The 17th Street North I-135 to Hillside, anticipated let in June of this year. We have the Southwest Butler Road Improvements project, intended to let at September 2025. The Wichita Intelligent Transportation System on East 21st Street, anticipate to let in early fall of 2025. The Maple Street Pathway, we still have it on this report here. That project will be moved back in the upcoming amendment that we'll vote on later today. And finally, we have the Redbud Path from Woodlawn to K96. It is anticipated to let in September of this year. Here's a map of those projects. It's also available on page 10 of the packet. And then we have the non-suballocated federal funds currently in the WAMPO TIP after amendment number 2. This is on page 9 of the packet. And that brings into the bi-monthly updates.
Right.
Any questions?
Thank you, Peter. We have next item, the intelligent transportation systems, both trans systems and JUO are helping with this project. Matt Baker is also online. Matt and Peter are going to help us, update the status on committee members and stakeholder meetings. Matt, are you there?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, TAC committee. When last we spoke before the holidays, our plan on the project was to complete the final steering committee meetings and commit to a stakeholder event where we were going to go through all the final steps of what we needed to complete the project and the deliverables. Since that time, we have chosen to delay that final steering committee and the stakeholder event until February. This allowed the consulting team, along with WAMPO, to work through the final drafts of all of the deliverables in this project. We're working on those right now, and that will allow us in the stakeholder meeting to have any gaps in that data, engage those stakeholders, and work through towards the final drafts of all the deliverables and the project. If you go to the next slide, the stakeholder meeting is going to be scheduled for February 18th, the morning of, for a few hours. And then a week later, we will have that final steering committee meeting where we will be able to go through the results of what we collected in the stakeholder meeting and the deliverables themselves. Those final deliverables are the ITS architecture update, the strategic deployment plan, the update of the TISMO strategic deployment plan, along with work on the WAMPO data repository for the region. Any questions?
Thank you, Matt. I just want to make a comment that, these studies happen once in a while. They don't happen often. Every few years, these studies happen. I would like to strongly encourage our jurisdictions to take advantage of, what do you like to see happen in ITS? How do you like to see integrate with, the region and county and city, so on. So the best possible investments that you believe is good for our region, because these are 18 and 24. So time passes quickly, the meetings happen and go on. So just want to remind everybody and to take advantage of these opportunities.
Thank you, Chad. We revisit the ITS architecture, or we should revisit the ITS architecture every 5 years. So this is an opportunity. If you do think of something, we can hopefully integrate anybody's ideas into the plan. They can be pretty broad, but I do know that there are some opportunities for funding if your project or idea is mentioned in the plan in some way, shape, or form. It can be amended, but again, it's an opportunity that exists, just so everyone's aware.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. We know how time passes quickly. And so, Peter, please update on projects obligated as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so we would like to bring you notice of the annual listing of obligated projects. So the annual listing of obligated project, or ALOP, is a federally required document developed every year by us and contains a list of projects that had federal funds obligated for their completion in the previous federal fiscal year. So what is obligation? So in between a transportation project being programmed or scheduled to be awarded to receive federal funding in the TIP, or the Transportation Improvement Program, and federal funds being received for the project, they must be obligated. So it is an administrative step after which the federal government is officially obligated to provide previously awarded or program funding for qualifying purposes described in the project scope. So some important considerations. The annual listing of obligated projects includes all projects in the TIP that were obligated federal funding in the past federal fiscal year. So FFY 2024 in this case. A project may not have any dollars awarded through WAMPO suballocated federal funding programs, but will still need to be included if it had other federal funds from like state or other federal sources or another non-suballocated federal programs. The amounts in the ALOP show federal funding that has been obligated for a project in a specific federal fiscal year, but not the total cost of the project from other federal fiscal years. And on occasion, a project may be completed without using all previously obligated funds. In this case, funds may be de-obligated, which is represented by a negative amount in the ALOP. There are a couple other times that sometimes you'll see a de-obligation that occur for different, less common reasons. But if you do see a negative number in there, that's why. The big headline, though, I would say is this table. And this is all of the federal funding that was obligated in the WAMPO region this past federal fiscal year. So you can see through our suballocated funding program, about $14.5 million, through the non-suballocated sources, the different federal programs beyond the WAMPO's suballocated program. We have about $15.5 million, totaling to about $30 million over the course of last year. So quite exciting there. And then for a project by project list, you can see that and packet in the agenda packet on page 14. And then we also have a map of those projects, page 15. And then any questions on the annual list of obligated projects?
Thank you, Peter. And I have a quick comment as well. There's a table, 11 by 17 page that's on your next to your near you, and also on the packet. It's on page 10. The table has summary of suballocated and non-suballocated. Suballocated consistent, like 14.5 million, with managing project selection committee manages that. And every year that is consistent. But I want to share with you the non-suballocated projects, the total sometimes change based on North Junction or Kellogg and so on. So that varies a lot because non-suballocated is statewide competing funds that the federal dollars, when they flow to our region, WAMPO, this body, the Transportation Technical Advisory Committee, would approve those, and then it goes to TPB in general. So just want to share with you how and what are we accomplishing each year. This is a great snapshot of various things we take action items. Little by little, they add up. Every time we come to a meeting, there are little action items that we make up. What's the end game? What are we accomplishing in each year? So this is one of the areas that I want to share with you, how your presence, your quorum, your coming meetings all make a difference for the region.
A lot of money you're dealing with too.
Next item. Next item is safe routes to school, and Kim Negrete has a report.
Good morning, Kim Negrete, your multimodal transportation safety planner. We are very excited to kick off our Safe Routes to Schools initiative. This is a very large initiative aimed really to increase accessibility and safety around schools throughout the WAMPO region. So we're really excited. These improvements will not only help the students and the families that attend these schools, but also the community as well. So this project is slated to run through December of 2026, and we hope to develop at least a minimum of 60 school-specific plans, but we are hoping to capture all of the public and private schools in the WAMPO region. So we are really excited. As I mentioned, it's public and private schools, so that's really nice that are eligible for this. SRF is the main consulting group that we're working with to help lead these efforts. So right now we're working to develop some introductory materials that will be for the jurisdictions for you and for the schools to really discuss, what are we asking of the schools and the jurisdictions in this process. So that is being developed. And we are also developing a stakeholder steering committee. And so any of the TAC members who are interested, if you'd like to serve on that committee, please let me know. Also, if you have specific schools in mind that have transportation issues or safety improvements that could be made, please let us know and we will get those up on the list. So you should be hearing from us shortly about the committee and updates.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you all. And, please feel free to reach out to Kim and staff if you have certain schools that are important that you feel need to be addressed. Kim is making sure prioritizing those first, and then later on going to, other priorities as time progresses. So thus completing all in a span of 2 years or so. So thank you, Kim.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, could I ask a question? This is Craig with City of Goddard.
Yes, go ahead.
Kim, I wanted to ask, you said that members of the TAC could be appointed to the steering committee. However, in the slide, it maybe leaves it open to be more general. Can other city staff, other than those that are on the TAC, be appointed to serve on this committee, say a city planner or a community development director?
Absolutely. We will take your enthusiastic participation. So yes, any city, county staff or school administration is definitely welcome. So absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, great question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next, we have grant opportunities. Marky will update us on upcoming grants.
Okay, good morning. So as hopefully you are all aware, part of WAMPO's mission is to keep our stakeholders informed. So we just wanted to mention a few current grant opportunities. The first one that I'll mention is the Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, or RAISE grant, which provides grants for surface transportation infrastructure projects with significant local or regional impact. And the application for those that is due January 30th. And then there is also the Technology Transfer, or T2 program. And for that, there is $5 million available in FTA Public Transportation Innovation Program funding. available to promote the deployment of successful transit innovation research findings. And the application for those is actually due February 11. I noticed this morning there is a typo in the packet, so I apologize for that. And then the third one that I'll mention is the Promoting Resilient Operations for Transformative, Efficient, and Cost-Saving Transportation, or PROTECT program. And that is to provide competitive grants on for projects seeking to strengthen surface transportation, be more resilient to natural hazards. And those applications are due February 24th. And then all of the links in your packet, as well as on the slide, will direct you to more information directly on those websites.
Awesome. Thank you, Marky. With that, Mr. Chair, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Chad, and thank you, staff. The next thing, we have item 3, public comment and opportunity. So this is the point where any member of the public would like to speak about any specific item on today's agenda or any other thing. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Any member that's here would like to speak or online? All right, not seeing anybody. We will move on to the action items. So we have a couple. The first one is the FFY 2025 through 2028 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment number 3. Peter?
Hello again. We have the Transportation Amendment number 3. It went through the public comment period from January 3rd through the 17th. We are on the next step here on 127. We are here for the TAC recommendation, and we will ideally vote on this on February 11th at TPP. So you can check out the full details of the amendment summary that is shown on the screen as an attachment link in your packet, and then a link in the bottom of the webpage that you are shown. So we have 11 projects in Amendment 3 that have requested changes that require TAC and TPP approval, and 7 requests for new projects to be added to the TIP, and 4 projects to be modified in the TIP. We'd also give notice that there were 7 projects with administrative adjustments that don't require formal action by TAC or TPP. For example, changes in year of activity, updating contact information, minor changes in cost. The projects requiring formal action, those are all on the map in your packet here. We'll go through the list here. These are all of the projects that are mappable, and we'll look at the table on the projects that require formal action. So we have the 17th Street North I-135 to Hillside, had an increase in project costs paid for with local funds, and added some right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation phases. The ITS 21st and 119th Street West to downtown had a change in project title and project limits. We had several new KDOT projects, several bridge ones, but of those projects, we had ones partnered with City of Derby. We had the K-15 intersection at 71st and 47th in MacArthur. We had the City of Goddard Galleria Commercial Road project. That is a new road. Andover, we had the Founders Parkway from Andover Road to Sunflower Road. That's also a new road in Andover. And the City of Wichita, Burlington, Northern Santa Fe Corridor Overheight Vehicle Warning System project. That was also a new project partnering with KDOT. And then we have the Sedgwick County Transportation. They have their FFY 2511 grant. And then finally, the Wichita Transit and their transit bus purchase funds or capital funds are in the tip here as well. Changes for our WAMPO suballocated funding program. We have the Wichita Transit bus purchase. To be more clear on this project, it is a 2018 project that was initially in the tip as completed. It has been resurrected to use these obligated funds that it hadn't quite spent. So there is a list of extra obligated funds, but those were previously already obligated for this project. So there is no additional new funding to distribute. It's from an old project that was finished, but hadn't used all of the funding on the Wichita Transit side, and FTA allowed them to put that back into the tip. And then the Redbud Path and Maple Street Pathway projects had changes to their funding, but it was a change in year of project, in the year of the project, and then also swapping some funding between our CRP or carbon reduction program and transit alternatives, resulting in no net change to the suballocated funding program. For the complete list of all of the federal funding changes, you can find this table also in your packet, and I don't have my page number right in front of me. A little embarrassing. This should be all within that staff report. The additional funding changes here. And then finally, amendment number 3 meets requirements, the public comment and review period. It's consistent with the current MTP, Reimagine Move 2040. It is fiscally constrained and adds $42.6 million in funding. Any questions for me on amendment 3?
Seeing none, go ahead.
Okay, our action options are recommend the TPP approve the federal fiscal 2025 to 2028 TIP Amendment 3 as presented, recommend the TPP not approve TIP Amendment number 3, or recommend approve with specific changes. Our staff recommendation is to recommend the TPP approve the FFY 2025 to FFY 2028 TIP Amendment 3 as presented.
All right, thank you, Peter. Nobody has any questions?
I have a quick question. I just want to make sure. Peter, on the Redbud and the Maple Street, you mentioned year change. So that was moving Redbud up, the funding for the TA to 2025. Is that correct? And then moving the Maple out to 2028. Is that right? Or
2027
Okay.
on Maple Street.
And you're good with that, Lynn? I think that's what we had worked out with Daniel. So, okay.
All right, thank you. What would you like to do? Anybody like to make a motion to approve the TIP amendment number 3?
I'll make a motion to approve the TIP Amendment 3 as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thanks. So we have a motion and a second to approve the FFY 2025 through 28 TIP program amendment number 3 as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. All right, Peter, looks like you're up next. Item number B, supporting KDOT federal performance measures target.
Thank you, Chair. So some background on performance measures. So FHWA and FTA jointly issued a planning rule to document changes in statewide and metropolitan planning processes consistent with the Moving Ahead for Progress in the 21st Century, or MAP 21 Act, and Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act, or FAST Act. This rule specifies the requirements for state departments of transportation and metropolitan planning organizations to implement a performance-based approach to planning and programming. As a part of this, the FHWA developed 3 performance measure rules. And I say rules, but each one of these performance measure categories, and there's 5, contains specific measures within each category. FTA additionally created 1 transit asset management rule and 1 FTA transit safety rule, along with some system performance for transit as well. So typically on an annual basis and an ongoing continuous basis, I should say, to be consistent with FHWA guidelines, the state DOT, after the state DOT establishes their performance measures targets, MPOs must either support the state targets or establish their own performance measure targets. In 2024, with TPP approval, WAMPO chose to support the state in achieving their performance measure targets for PM1 safety, sometimes called highway safety, bridge and pavement conditions, PM3 system performance, and TAM, or transit asset management. Not all targets and measures are updated, not all targets are updated every year. But for this year, for 2025, KDOT has updated their performance measure targets for PM1. That includes all 5 of their safety targets, and new targets are established every year. PM2, the percent of interstates pavements in good condition, they updated their target for that. And for PM3 system performance, which looks at metrics that can be equated to measuring congestion. But I'm sure if I said that to somebody who works in the state, it's not quite that. But PM3, they updated their target for truck travel time reliability, and we'll go through those here. So for PM1, highway safety, and these are 5-year rolling averages. They're 25, they set new targets for these every year. So for 2025, their new target for number of statewide fatalities is 390. The fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled is 1.25. The number of serious injuries is 1,875. The serious injuries per 100 million VMT or vehicle miles traveled would be 6.2. And their target for number of non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries is 195 for their new target. For the pavement and bridge conditions, they again just updated their percent of interstate pavements in good condition. The new target is to have 70% or more in good condition. And for system performance, they updated their truck travel time reliability, or TTTR index, up to 1.13, which, to give some context around that, 1.13 is a very, very good metric compared to most other states. We have very good truck travel time reliability. And then finally, the transit asset management, which we have the useful life benchmark and the term scale, which they both measure condition of different transit assets. These were established in 2022. KDOT has consistently used these for their annual targets. So that brings us to our action item. Any questions before I read the action options?
Seeing none.
So our action options are: recommend the TPP approve supporting KDOT's 2025 federal performance measures or performance measure targets as presented. Recommend the TPP not approve the federal performance measure targets, or recommend the TPP approve them with specific changes. Staff recommendation is to recommend the TPP approve supporting KDOT's 2025 federal performance measure targets as presented.
Well, if there's no questions, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the measured target actions as presented?
So moved.
All right, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the supporting KDOT federal performance measure targets and accept those as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? All right, thank you. That's it for our action items. Next thing is discussion updates. We have the draft Metropolitan Transportation Plan 2050 to be released to public comment period. We have Nick and Marky.
Thank you. The last time this body met was 2 months ago, at which time you were informed that on November 12th, the TPB approved the project list for MTP 2050. And now we are proud to make another announcement. There are now drafts of all of the chapters and appendices of MTP 2050 available online for review at wampo.org/MTP 2050. And we have requested that the Plan Advisory Committee and KDOT and our federal planning partners review that. And once they have completed that review and we have addressed any comments that they make, then we intend to open it for a public comment period, which will be public engagement round 4 for MTP 2050. But that can't happen until after the TPB has voted to release MTP 2050 for public comment, or rather release the draft for public comment as required by our public participation plan. And that vote is scheduled for February 11th. And then pending that vote, we expect to have the public comment period run March 8th through April 7th. And following that, we will address any comments received during that public comment period. And once those comments have been addressed, we will come back to this TAC for a recommendation on approval of the overall MTP on April 28th. And then finally, a TPB vote on approval on May 13th, 2025, getting us in before the June 2025 deadline to have a new MTP 5 years after the last one was approved in June 2020. And then the only thing left will be one last round of public engagement where we will introduce the overall plan to the general public after it has been approved. And now just to quickly show you where to find the draft chapters and appendices for review on www.wampo.org/MTP 2050. There's one tab for the chapters and one tab for the appendices on that page. 7 chapters, 14 appendices. And now I will turn things over to Marky Jones to talk more specifically about our public engagement period.
Yes, thank you, Nick. I just wanted to add a few more details about round 4 of public engagement. So as Nick said, after the TBB releases the draft for public comment, we'll have that 30-day public comment period. And during that time, we will have an open house, as well as other smaller meetings. And we are seeking other opportunities as well. So if you know of any public events or any meetings that WAMPO could speak at and just introduce the plan a little bit more, that would be fantastic. Please let me know. That's the gist of it. We will be sending out more details as the date gets closer and as we have more information. Any help promoting the open house as well as the draft available for public comment would be greatly appreciated.
All right, thank you, Marky and Nick. So our next item is complete streets. Dora.
Good morning, everyone. Dora Gaio, Transportation Planner here at WAMPO. So WAMPO will be starting a new little series of complete streets. Today's just the introduction. Why doesn't it advance? I got it. So complete streets is about creating equitable spaces that cater to everyone, regardless of how they choose to travel. They balance safety and accessibility while integrating different modes of transportation into a cohesive network. So we'll include all modes of mobility, so pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, and transit riders of all ages and abilities. Some of the key features are pedestrian-friendly sidewalks and crosswalks, dedicated bike lanes, safe transit stops, and accessible designs for individuals with disabilities. Why complete streets matter? Implementing complete streets improves safety, supports healthier communities, and even boosts the local economy by attracting pedestrians. Plus, these streets reduce our carbon footprint. WAMPO will be developing a toolbox. So why toolbox provides practical tools for cities to design, implement, and maintain complete streets. Some of the content within the toolbox is design guidelines, such as templates for sidewalks, bike lanes, and transit stops. Policy examples, so sample ordinance and resolutions. Community engagement strategies, tips for involving stakeholders. Case studies, so real-world examples from successful implementations. Evaluation metrics, so tools to measure success, such as increase usage or reduce crashes. More benefits of the toolbox. It will streamline the implementation process, saving time and ensuring collaboration among planners, engineers, and community members. So a call to action: by adopting the policy and using the toolbox, we can create safer, more vibrant communities where everyone feels welcome and supported. And I've just included a few little images of examples of what complete streets can look like. So here we have an extended curb, making it easier for pedestrians to cross the street. Here's a real world example, adding some bike lanes, a visible crosswalk, reducing the lanes for mobile traffic. Here's another example where a roundabout was designed or wants to be designed, and adding, reducing space within the lanes, making it easier for people to utilize the space and be able to cross streets safer. And that is all I have for today. Any questions or comments?
Did you have something? No, I do not have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me quick comment. Mr. Chair, just wanted to hear of Dora presenting this. Federal Highway Administration encourages WAMPOs to develop complete streets toolbox, and many MPOs did this. And as time progresses, staff will share more of these complete streets guidelines and toolbox. That's all the comment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dora. All right, our next item C, transit update, Hayesville Hustle. We have Krista McDaniel from the city of Hayesville.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, Mayor and everyone from the TAC committee. Just a quick update, and thank you to WAMPO for inviting us to come back and give you guys a quick update about our program. Next slide, please. Just a little bit about the Hayesville Hustle. Our 14-passenger vehicle is a paratransit bus that's fully equipped to accommodate the special needs of the elderly and disabled. Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and the transportation is available to citizens of all ages. Our drivers only accept pre-purchase tokens as payment. Each one-way trip is a $2 token, and tokens as well as reservations and registrations can be handled through the Hazel Senior Center. And just a quick note that we have not increased our pricing since the beginning of operation, so we're proud of that. And our transit staff consists of one full-time driver and one part-time dispatcher, and then the 2 senior center staff cover duties as needed. Next slide. What is our service area? All persons residing in the city of Hazel city limits, as well as the Hazel's area of influence, which is about 16,859 residents, are eligible to ride the hustle. Rides must originate from these pickup boundaries, which is east of Hoover, south of 55th Street, and west of Hydraulic, and north of 95th. The bus will take patrons from these boundaries and take them anywhere within Hayesville, as far north as 47th and Broadway, to be able to access shopping needs, as well as Wichita Transit connections, and east of 63rd and K15 intersection, and Rock Road between 63rd and Madison and Derby. We recently expanded in 2022 to Rock Road to meet the high demand for especially medical needs, but as well as shopping. Next slide. Just a little bit of statistics. We launched our operation November 1st of 2020. In 2023, we had 2,993 one-way rides, and that was from the ages of 8 to 96. And last year, we had a total of 3,361 from 7 to 98. So as of December 2024, we've completed 11,893 one-way trips. We're doing pretty good. Next slide. Just with all of our growth, just looking towards the future, we are anxious to continue growing and meet the needs of the community. The demand for our service has increased significantly, making it difficult to meet all the needs of all of our passengers. we frequently are unable to accommodate recent requests due to only having the one vehicle, and many passengers are on a reoccurring set schedule for medical appointments and work. So we hope in the future to be able to acquire a full-size van and potentially increase our staffing here to, and this will be crucial to the growth of the Hazel Hustle. An additional van would also help us serve as a backup vehicle for when our current bus is down for maintenance and repairs. Currently, if in these situations, we just have to cancel rides for that day. And then we continue to enjoy working with various committees to hope finding solutions to the lack of connectivity between communities. So if there's ever any committees for anything like this, we would love to be included in that. And next slide, please. This is my contact information. You're welcome to call or email me anytime with any questions, and I'd be happy to answer any questions right now.
Are there any questions for Kristen? There is a committee for inter-regional transportation, isn't there?
Transit committee. There was a committee that didn't meet in a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a regional transit committee that we can initiate. If needed, we can have that meeting initiate again, Mr. Chair.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Well, thank you
Kristen,
very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is other business. We have a KDOT Transportation Safety Conference. JB Wilson, are you online?
I didn't see JB. I guess we could have either Dwayne here or Kim. Any one of you can talk about the conference.
Dwayne's. Dwayne, we need to get you registered. So we are definitely excited to be partnering. KDOT will be hosting the 30th annual Transportation Safety Conference this year in Wichita. So we're excited. We'll be at the Hyatt. It's a great 2-day conference. Plus there is the March 3rd, which is for law enforcement. There's a wide variety of breakout sessions and topics, great keynote speakers. So hopefully you can attend. Registration is open. So yes, we'd love to have everybody come out and join, and WAMPO will be also providing a presentation for one of the breakouts.
All right, thank you. Chad, you have anything else?
Quick comment.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to share with everyone that we had 2 years of our chair's leadership, our TAC, and next TPB, there will be some elections, and that'll be the time to determine 2 more years of TAC chair at the time. But staff is very thankful to our chair. He was helping, guiding us, as well as also the project selection committee as well. That's also very difficult to lead as well. So we just want to thank chair, and you all also know how much our chair contributed to TAC meetings.
Thank you, Chad. It's been a pleasure, chairing the TAC. Chad said the elections will be at the next TPB on February 11th. Be electing a new TAC chair, as well as a vice chair for the TPB chair and TPB chair. So that'll be at the February 11th meeting. So, all right, that's all I have. So next thing is adjournment. Anybody like to adjourn today's meeting?
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion, and I'll second that. So all in favor, say aye. All right. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Marcy.